Hi, you're watching The Tattooed Psychic and listening to The Tattooed Psychic. Thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate it very much. It's early in the morning here in Washington, and Faye is up early because she cannot sleep. Wah! The planets are keeping me awake. But not just the planets. I can't keep blaming the planets, right? And that's what I've discovered today. So today's podcast is about what do you do when you're an empath and you are affected by the world, and what lessons can you learn by how you're reacting and learning how to be responsible for your own actions and realizing that people are not responsible for how you feel. And that's hard for people to accept, right? So here, all I can do when I talk and share and try to teach or heal is share a part of my story, because that's the kind of healer I am, right? Is sharing my story so you can see and maybe learn something or give me advice even, right? Or tell me your story and tell me how you got out of, certain situations. So basically what was happening is for about 2 weeks now, I've been on this energetic, weird energy, right? I'm unable to sleep. I'm up at 2 in the morning ready to rock. I'm staring at the stars. I can feel my energy in my body just electric, right? And I know that 7 or so planets were in retrograde. I'm not an astrologer. I'm not, that I'm not educated enough on that subject to talk to you about the planets and their alignments and all that. But I've been watching some YouTube videos and going, okay, that's part of it, I'm sure. And I am a Capricorn, so that is definitely a part of it. But it's also, I think, the part of the healing journey where spirit will test us. As if you've been watching my podcast, you know that I've been working really hard on the trauma. 20 years ago, I was a really successful, well-known psychic medium, and I had a lot of trauma happen to me, and I abandoned spirit, and I just had to rekindle my life and my situation with spirit, get sober. All these things happened to me in the past few years, and now I'm restarting my podcast in a different light and doing readings again and soul coaching and doing all these things again that I swore I'd never do, right? But the past 2 weeks, but spirit always has a plan. They want me to tell you that. Like, my spirit guide right now is telling me, you're a good example, tell them, of when you abandon spirit, you always come back. And it's true. Ask anyone. So, and when I say abandon spirit, I mean I just walked away from spirit. I was done. And I became really human, and it was a disaster. It was a disaster. But let's talk about today's topic. So, the past 2 weeks, I have been on this electric energy, questioning myself and getting really, honestly, pissed off at the general public, right? Because, and I look at the world and I see things, and I turned on the news and just to see what the hell was going on in the world, and it's a disaster. And then I got really upset over the Seattle police officer laughing about a woman's death, that another police officer hit and killed this woman. He was speeding and just killed her in a crosswalk, and she was a young student taking care of her mother, and a Seattle police officer is laughing about it, and it upset me so much because what? Do you know what I mean? Like, it should upset everyone that a person who the city pays, and when you do your research on this cop, he's had many complaints. He is not a good police officer, but they keep him on. And it upsets me that people like that are allowed to run the streets, basically murder innocent people, and get away with it. And it just drives me gagankas, right? And then you see all the theft happening, right? I see all the theft happening. People just literally walking into stores and stealing so much stuff, and nobody does anything. Not one thing. And I'm like, what world am I living in? Is this the shift? Is this the new paradigm? This morning I was sitting with spirit because, like I said, I can't sleep, and I literally had to get my brain to rewire itself to the new self, and ask spirit, how do I navigate through this stuff? How do I not react in a negative way, right? How do I not react emotionally? And spirit goes, well, first of all, you should react emotionally because that's a horrible thing. Most human beings, when they see that, react with disgust and also pain for that woman's family, that poor woman's family, to hear that. I don't know what I would do, and hopefully this city pays her well, you know, um, and hopefully she has a good lawyer, because I would sue the hell out of this city and that cop and everything. I mean, it would, and because that's the only way you can get justice. It really is. They're not going to do anything to that cop, and see how it upsets me. It just upsets me that I live on this planet where people just don't care anymore. And here we have healers and spiritual people trying to get people to care again. And I think that for me, I learned a great lesson in the past 2 weeks about myself, right? I do belong here, actually, many, on this planet, because they need people like us, healers, to help navigate through this life, right? They need us, and they always have. They've always needed healers on this planet. So then it comes to my responsibility of my own actions, just like your responsibility for your own actions. And I had to go inside my brain and re-navigate and shift my river of life into a new direction. I'm totally aware of what's happening in the world. I'm totally saddened, first of all, but also disgusted by the craziness that is being allowed to happen in our country is crazy. And I'm not a political person, but somebody needs to step up and try to do something, because it's crazy. But I can't do anything about politics. I can't do anything about the corrupt police department. I cannot do anything except vote eventually if there's any good candidates, which I see none. And I can't do anything about our governor or anything like that. I can't do anything about the people stealing. I can't do anything about any of that. All I can do is focus on my dream, my goal, my path. And part of that is to not let those things upset me to the point where I become a shut-in and start questioning my own existence, right? How people react in the world has nothing to do with me. Nothing. What's that saying? What people think about me is none of my business. And what people are doing, or what they want to leave comments on Facebook or social media, then let them do it. If they want to pick fights with me, just let them pick fights with me, and I won't even respond. I think that, because you'd be surprised how many people want to pick fights on social media. It's so crazy. So I sat with my spirit guide, I did some heavy thinking, and realized again that I have no control over any of that. I only control myself. It's good to be aware of the world because we live in it, but we also have to focus on the things that benefit us and not harm us. And I want to give that piece of advice to you, because I know some of you are out there. I get emails, and you're out there, and you feel that tension of the world too, because you're greatly empathic, or you're on your spiritual journey and you're becoming enlightened. And part of becoming enlightened is becoming more aware and sensitive. It is. It's just you've got to be aware of that. And so if that's happening to you, know that you've got to get back to yourself, check yourself, and say, you know what? I only control my reaction. I only control how I feel. I control how no one else feels. My goal is to try and get people to feel good. For me, I try to do it with humor, but unfortunately, my humor is very dark and sarcastic. I mean, I was raised by uh, gay men. They found me when I was a teenager, panhandling on the streets of Capitol Hill in Seattle, and took me in and made me who I am today. Honestly, when you won't believe this, honestly, but when David Patterson found me panhandling in front of Hillcrest on Capitol Hill, I was 18 years old. I was a shy, really introverted person. Right? And then he literally walked up to me as I was asking for money, and he said, "Oh, girl, you are too pretty for this. You come with me." And that's how that happened. He literally took my hand and took me home. And they gave me courage and strength and taught me to fight for myself and not let the world tear me down. This was in the 80s. And in the 80s, when you were gay, you were mostly shunned by your family. All my friends were shunned by their families, and so they created a community and family of their own. And then, unfortunately, AIDS came and wiped everyone out. I lost my whole family when AIDS came, and it was horrible. And so, most of them, I lost most of them. And give me a second. That was, whew. But they made me who I am today. They gave me courage and strength because I watched them suffer. You know, I watched them get bullied on the streets. And I remember one time, David was my closest friend, and we shared so much in life together. And he was actually one of the last people to pass on. But we were downtown Seattle one time, and these guys came up, and David was looking really good and flamboyant, you know, and these guys came up to him and said, "Hey, are you a faggot? And are you a dude? Are you a fag?" And David looked at them like fiercely, dead in the eyes, and said, "Yes, I have a cock. Would you like to see it? Would you like to touch it?" And they backed off, right? And he said, "Faye, all you have to do is act a little crazy and be forceful, and people will leave you alone." And I think that just kind of stuck with me. And yeah, they taught me fierceness, that not to let people bully you, not to be afraid of who you are, right? And I think for me, because I've been attacked a lot, you know, not just physically, someone tried to kill me, but also on social media, right? Because I am rather outspoken as a healer, so to speak, and I just look at it like this. I think that strong women have always been put down and attacked because they're intimidating, and I know I intimidate people because they tell me I do, and that's not even my intention. I'm just a strong person, and I've had to be a strong person because this life wasn't easy for me. I didn't grow up with a mother and father teaching me anything. I grew up having to teach myself, being my own mother, my own father. The only saving grace I had in my life was my grandmother, who did tarot readings using playing cards and believed in me and gave me strength and told me, "Faya, be strong." And that was my only saving grace as a child. And then as I got a teenager, my saving grace was the gay men who took me in. And so I think that, you know, the universe takes care of us, right? And I know I've been protected, even though I've had massive abuse in my life and so many horrible things. I've had a lot of great things too. And when people say, "Faye, you're too strong," or, you know, "you intimidate me," that's not my intention, but that's on you, right? I'm not going to dim my light anymore for anybody. And I've worked hard to get here, and nobody's going to take that from me. And strong women are not bitches. Strong women are not, they're not meant to be intimidating, right? But you need to look at the woman and why she is like that. you know? And you need to look at the human being and why they are a certain way. And we need to stop attacking each other. I want to tell you this beautiful story that happened yesterday, because this is how things should be handled. We have a delivery driver who's rather androgynous, and a person said, oh, they were coming in with a package, and a man was in the way, and not in the way, but just passing by, and said, oh, I'm sorry, sir. And the woman looked at him and said, it's actually ma'am, and said it's okay, and kept walking. And that was that. There was no argument. She didn't get upset. I'm how dare you? Nothing like that. It was just like, hey, I'm a ma'am, not a sir. And that was that. No big deal. And when I get on social media, sometimes I see these young kids, and somebody calls them a ma'am or a sir, but whatever, and they just lose their shit, right? And then they start fighting, and there's no resolution. There's no resolution there, folks, right? So my thing is this: why can't you just calmly say, hey, that's not what I go by. This is what I go by. Would you mind calling me this from now on? Thank you so much. And then continue the conversation. It's that simple, right? But when I see the world today, and this is what's bothered me for 2 weeks, I see all these attacks and stuff, and I'm like, why is no one thinking logically? Why is no one thinking spiritually, right? Why can't they just calmly say, like that woman yesterday, it's not sir, it's ma'am, and it's no big deal, thank you. That was it. And he said, I'm sorry, and then walked. I mean, there was no fighting. There was no... And we can live in a world like that. We really can. You can be who you want to be. And strong women, you're going to see them more and more. More and more coming out in the world, because we've had to become stronger and stronger. Do you understand that? When you have no one, no mother, no father, or you've been abused most of your life, and most little girls have been molested, right, in some capacity. You have to learn to protect yourself. You have to be strong in this world. You do. And so I was talking with my spirit guide, and they said, what kind of things bother you? And I say, weakness. Weakness in people really bothers me. When I see people just whining about their life and all that, it really bothers me. And then my spirit guide says, so what can you do to help them get through it? Be angry about it? Just disrespect them because they're weak? Is that the solution? No. That's not the solution, Faye. That's not the solution. The solution is looking at them and understanding maybe why they're weak, and try to show them how beautiful strength looks, and that they can achieve it. I always tell my clients, you have a choice. Only 2 choices in this world: be a victim or a warrior. And through that choice will dictate the rest of your life. It really will. It really, truly will. Warriors, we fight, we go through battles internally, physically, mentally, spiritually, and we learn from those. And there's millions of us out there. And victims, they live in the past. They repeat the same thing over and over and over again. And many of us were victims at one time, and then we became warriors. So it is possible. And so, I don't know about you guys, but all these planets and all these things and all this stuff and all this crazy energy, I think it's really just meant to make us stronger, to make us kinder to each other, and to make us have a little more empathy. That's what it's done for me. I shake my head a lot at people. I do, because I just can't believe it, the things people do. But then I have to look at myself and go, well, you're not perfect. And so how can you better that? How can you change your thoughts about other people to be better? And that's just be a better person and think better thoughts. And that's on me. That's not on them. And that's on you too, to think better thoughts for yourself, and to see the world and acknowledge it, because we live here. We have to know what's going on. But we can also reach out to community, and we can also reach out and be better people to each other. We can. And I'm going to work on that this week. So I'm going to give you a goal this week to be a better person to yourself with your thoughts and how you treat yourself, but also be a better person to other people, even if they're angry at you, even if they try to trigger you, even if they're bullies. I'm not saying stand there and take it and be, and be abused. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe just have empathy for them and try to see it from a third eye perspective, because it's very difficult to see the third eye perspective when you are in the human condition. And I hope that makes sense. And the human condition reacts emotionally, not logically. The third eye will act logically. And so I'm going to work on that this week, and I hope you do too. And I hope all of this made sense. And I know that things can trigger us. And here's the thing is, I don't want you to go numb in the world. I want you to feel that pain and that disgust, because that means you're still human. When we become numb, we become the walking dead. Even I've seen spiritual people who completely deny everything in the world, and they just walk around like, oh, everything's going to be butterflies and cupcakes. And that's just not the way of the world. It's not. That's not the reality of it. The reality is you have to know what's going on so you can learn from it and grow and make it better. That's how we do it. We don't make the world better, Spirit says, by denying the negative aspects of the world. And I learn best in darkness. That's me. I learn the best when I'm just like down there. You know what I mean? Because I can see in the darkness. And I had a shaman once tell me, Faye, I've never seen anyone work the way you do. Like you just go into the dark. And I will tell you this. I did start my work in the darkness, working with the shadows, working with complete darkness, because that's what was attacking me all the time. And I wanted to know it. I wanted to know what it was. And so that's where I started my work. And then I grew from there. Now I can reach all kinds of cool places. But, it is what it is. And a lot of people are afraid to go into the darkness. But to me, that's where I learned everything I know today. When people say, how can you do what you do? It's because I went there. I hope that makes sense. I love you all. My time is running out. I got to get to work. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Remember to keep love in your heart. And if you have those negative thoughts against yourself or other people, it's normal. You're a human being. And energy, the world is crazy sometimes and it impacts us. You're human. But catch your spiritual self and go, you know what? There's nothing I can do about it except give love to the world. And that's about all you can do. And love to myself and to the world, and change my behavior. Right? Change your patterns. Change how you think about things. Change how you react about things. This is all on you. And I hope all that makes sense. I love you all. Thanks for listening to The Tattooed Psychic. I have some amazing guests coming up. Dr. Savannah's coming up. She's going to be teaching us about health and nutrition and her Well-Fed Woman program. And you're going to love her. She's awesome. And I've got other guests coming on. I can't remember them all right now because I need more coffee. But I love you all. Thanks for listening. And we will see each other soon. Have a blessed day. Keep love in your heart, please. Love yourself.